What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking some college basketball props ahead of February the 14th, Super Tuesday. And we're talking via No House Advantage. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And if you're listening on podcast, please leave a rating and review over there as well. We are talking No House Advantage, and they have a bunch of different ways you can play player props. They have Verse the House, which is what we will be talking about today, a bunch of player props, and you can make lines yourself. They're like lineups, as many as 5 where you can 21 extra entry fee. But they also have Pick'em contests where you can play Verse a slew of other people in tournament fashion, and they have prizes as high as $25,000. Many times these tournaments are not even filling, which gives you a chance to take on extra equity in that contest. Think of it as giving yourself a better chance to actually win those prizes. And again, for those contests, you're making lineups of player props on a confidence interval. And No House Advantage has a first match deposit bonus up to $100. They will literally give you $100 to sign up when you make your first deposit. So click the link in the video description below to take advantage of that, or just head to No House Advantage. And we will bring you behind the glass. Let's talk about some of their props. We're going to talk 4 today. The first one you see is Noah Locke of Providence. He'll be taking on Creighton today. And we are going to go under on the point prop, which sits at 11.5. First and foremost, you can look at Noah Locke this year. He's averaging 10.5 points per game in 27.5 minutes. This game has a moderate total of 140.5 points. Providence is the underdog, but the minutes are a concern here for Noah Locke. They recently returned Jared Bynum, and over the last 3 games, Jared Bynum has played 35, 17, and 35 minutes. The 17-minute game was the result of fouls, and that corresponded with minute counts of 21, 27, and 40 for Noah Locke. Now, Noah Locke and Jared Bynum don't necessarily play the same position, but they're both guards, and having an extra guard in Jared Bynum allows for this rotation to expand because you're still seeing players like Allen Breed play a handful of minutes. Corey Floyd and Jaden Pierre, they both come in occasionally for minutes, and that comes at the expense of certain players opposed to others. And if you look at just the pecking order of Providence players, well, Ed Coswell and Bryce Hopkins don't play the same position. Devin Carter's not coming off the floor unless there's foul trouble or some other circumstance. Jared Bynum is their main ball handler. He's not coming off the floor. A lot of the minutes come from Noah Locke, and he's a player that is really shot reliant anyway. His shot rate has actually dropped over the last 3 games from about 15.5% to 14.5%. Minutes are now also a major concern. All this to say, this is a pretty good spot to be going under for Noah Locke. And he also is a superb 3-point shooter. Just so happens that Creighton is 55th in 3-point defense. All that to say, we're going under 11.5. He currently projects for 9.2 points on the back end. Next one, another under. We have Penn State taking on Illinois. Andrew Funk is at 14.5 points. This will be one we also look under on. Unders are going to be the play today, as you'll see. Currently, Andrew Funk averages 12.7 points per game. That is in 34 minutes played per game. And in this particular matchup against Illinois, he'll be facing a strong defense. Illinois is top 10 in the country in defensive efficiency. This game still is a pretty good total of 141.5. And Andrew Funk plays a lot of minutes. Last 3 games, 37, 40, and 25. That 25-minute game, there's really no excuse for that. Penn State just occasionally will change their player personnel to match their opponents. So while Andrew Funk averages 34 minutes per game, he'll occasionally see those games where he's down at 25 minutes or so. Regardless, we can look at shot rate here for Funk. We know Jalen Pickett is the alpha stud on this team. He's going to handle about 25% of the shots. That's been consistent this year. It's been consistent in the last 3 games. And their second most active shooter is Seth Lundy. That leaves Andrew Funk third. On the season, he's at about 16.9% shot rate. That's dropped to 14.5% in the last 3 games. He's a player that's just highly shot dependent, and that is the way it is. Meanwhile, Illinois is 83rd in 3-point defense. They're very good when you have Andrew Funk driving, which isn't exactly the most frequent occurrence. Illinois is top 5 in the country in 2-point defense. All this to say, it doesn't really match up well for Andrew Funk and Penn State in this matchup. Not to mention, Overall shot rate and minute allocation doesn't match up either. His average doesn't even match up. Currently in this game, we have Andrew Funk projected for 11.7 points, giving us a strong under on the 14.5, which is his listed prop. Going down to our fourth prop today, we have Bryce Thompson of Oklahoma State. We're going over 11.5 points here. Oklahoma State taking on Kansas. The biggest thing to mention in this matchup, and still what is leading to this inefficient pricing, is the injury to Avery Anderson. Anderson hasn't played in any of the last 3 games. In that same span, we've now seen Bryce Thompson play 34, 32, and 35 minutes, which has greatly expanded his shot rate, which has jumped to 21% in the absence of Avery Anderson. That leads the team. The second highest shot rate is a tie between Caleb Boone and John Michael Wright at 16%. So there's a very clear edge here for Bryce Thompson and his shot rate. It is the highest on the team, and it doesn't appear that that is changing much. We can look at the season-long stats. It's actually already pretty favorable. He's played 29.3 minutes per game. He's averaging 11.2 points, and now we've removed the usage leader from the offense. And I'm surprised that the numbers haven't yet corresponded to his new role, but they just simply have not. If you look at the overall game environment, Kansas, they're 2-point favorite. The total is 138. That gives Oklahoma State a fine, serviceable implied team total. It's 68 points. You've multiple ways to score with Thompson, and he actually projects for 13.2 in the back end here. So we'll go over Thompson on points at 11.5. Our final player prop, we are going to Oklahoma taking on Kansas State, where we have Jalen Hill under 12.5 points. Another one where you have Oklahoma winning just 2 conference games so far this year. They've won something like 3 of their last 12. I don't know. It's very, very bad. And they've started to mess with their rotation. But before we even get to that, let's just talk season averages. Jalen Hill is averaging 10.2 points per game in 32 minutes. So in this spot, projected for 12.5, this is one where the under already kind of makes intuitive sense. You have 2.5 points essentially towards the under, just looking at season averages. But then we can expand this to some efficiency metrics and look at what Oklahoma's doing and their blowout losses. Well, his minutes have dropped sharply. He's averaging 32 in the year, but last 3 games, he's played 28, 22, and 26. He's only committed 6 total fouls in that span. Fouls have not been a major issue. They've just been getting younger players involved, expanding their rotation, and that includes the front court, where you now have Jalen Hill, Tanner Groves, Jacob Groves. Sam Goodwin's played at least 13 minutes in 3 straight games. This is an expanded rotation, largely because Oklahoma is losing games consistently, and their current starting 5, among whom Jalen Hill is involved, the players, getting 32 minutes a game, have not been cutting it. Now they go into a buzzsaw of a matchup against Kansas State, who ranks 28th in defensive efficiency, strong inside and out, especially good at 3-point defense, where they rank 10th in the country in 3-point defense. And you already have the minute concerns. So his projection has fallen all the way to 8.6 points, which gives us substantial value towards the under here on Jalen Hill. We're only playing 4 props today, but as you can see on the bottom of the screen, you need to make at least 2. Our 4 prop parlay, if you will, currently will pay out 11x if they're all correct. But if you found a 5th you like, that would pay out 21x. If you have anything else you like, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think of these picks. I would love to hear it. And if you'd like to reach out, I'm on Twitter at Matt_Kajeski, always willing to chop up some college basketball bets, props, whatever it may be. We'll be back tomorrow and Thursday talking more player props, so make sure to check those videos out. Until then, good luck, everybody. We'll see you next time.